20-odd years since we started doing this program back in 2000. Originally was the government of Quebec, and now we have the government of Canada involved in this. So basically, this program, we are still in early stages, in my opinion, me being very naive about justice, how it works, never being educated on the justice system. We're still learning ourselves what rights and so forth you may have as a Canadian. So we're trying to educate more and more Inuit about the different rights they might have. And we do have different blocks that we work on. We have justice committee coordinators in 10 of our communities. We also use the GLADU report. We're also looking at record suspension program, which is very new for us. We also have support staff helping, whether it's training and so forth. We have judicial program coordinators in both coasts, and the Angava coast and the Hudson coast. And we also have correctional services where we have elders visiting our incarcerated Inuit, whether they're in federal or whether they're in provincial jail. So we're learning, and we're very appreciative of Canada, the contribution they're making. Where we lack or where we need more support is in courthouses in our communities. And lastly, I just want to say that we started having our justice team visiting the communities, but because of spring and summer just coming into our region, a lot of people are out, so we decided to delay the event to the fall so more people would be at home. And we employ roughly 30 people at this time. So I want to thank both governments for the contributions they've made towards helping us in understanding the justice system in Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Atami. Now I turn to MP Lambropoulos.
I hope. Oh. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was trying to unmute and it was lagging a little bit. I'm pleased to join you actually from Saint Laurent, territory of the Kanyen'kehá:ka Mohawk Nation. I thank you, Mr. Atami, for welcoming us and for joining this call today. It's an honor to be part of today's announcement with the Honourable David Lametti, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. Today we're joining the Makivik Corporation to talk about how we're working with Indigenous peoples to advance reconciliation and in particular transform the relationship between Indigenous peoples and the justice system. We're doing so in collaboration and partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities, supporting Indigenous-led, culturally appropriate programs and services to provide community members with alternatives to the mainstream justice system. Tragically, Indigenous peoples continue to be overrepresented in the justice system, and the rates continue to rise. Particularly troubling, Indigenous women now make up half of the population of women incarcerated in federal institutions. Tangible change is urgently needed. This is a complex and troubling issue that requires a multifaceted approach, one that integrates Indigenous community-based justice services and traditional healing methods to support the offender and the victim and to restore community health. The Makivik Corporation is a vital partner in these efforts. Its justice program offers culturally appropriate, community-based justice service in a way that empowers individuals, recognizes the Inuit values, ways, and knowledge, and builds resilience and dignity. We are proud to support the tireless work to create a healthier, more vibrant, and safer community for all Indigenous peoples of Nunavik. On that note, I will hand it over to Minister Lametti to provide more details on today's funding announcement. Thank you.
Ulakut, hello, bonjour. Greetings from my office here in Ottawa, which is located on the traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. pleasure to join my colleague, Emanuela Lambropoulos, who's, as you know, the MP from Saint Laurent, for this important announcement. And I thank Emma for all her work and support, both inside of caucus and outside of caucus on these important issues. And thank you to President Peter Atami for hosting us today virtually. And thank you for your strong leadership of this vital organization. We are building a good relationship with our government and our various ministers, and we're pleased to have you, and we're pleased to really be in partnership with you. And I think that's the direction in which we're moving, and we're pleased and proud. We come together today then as partners to renew our commitment to supporting culturally appropriate, Indigenous-led, community-based justice services for the Indigenous peoples of Nunavik. This is a critical part of our reconciliation journey, transforming how First Nations, Inuit, and Métis interact with our justice system. Les peuples autochtones ont subi et continuent de subir des actes individuels et systématiques de racisme et de discrimination à toutes les étapes du processus de justice. Ils y sont tragiquement surreprésentés en tant que victimes, survivants, accusés et condamnés. Comme Emmanuel l'a mentionné, les chiffres sont alarmants et continuent d'augmenter. Our government is focused on making fundamental changes to address the systemic racism and to ensure that true justice and equality for Indigenous peoples can be found in our system. One way to achieve this is by collaborating with Indigenous peoples to deliver culturally appropriate community-based justice services from the ground up. This includes increasing the application of GLADRU principles in our criminal justice system. These principles ensure that judges take into account an Indigenous person's unique background or circumstances when deciding on a sentence. This goes hand in hand with Bill C-5 that have just finished in the House of Commons, which then will allow the judge to take those factors in the GLADRU report into account in sentencing by not having a number of minimum mandatory penalties, and by allowing for conditional sentence orders to be used to fashion a sentence which actually fits not only the crime, but helps the individual and the community move forward. An organization that is leading the way is the Makivik Corporation. Its justice program uses culturally adapted approaches that emphasize healing for individuals and families and communities, and addresses the underlying causes of crime. These are complex challenges, and we must address them through strong partnerships and investments that will bring about fundamental change. Again, fundamental change from the ground up that are based in the practices and belief structures and traditions of a community. So that brings me to today's announcement. I'm pleased to announce that the Government of Canada is providing funding of more than $2.22 million to the Makivik Corporation. Of this amount, $1.5 million will go to support the Makivik Justice Program, which offers a wide range of services and support to Inuit individuals at various stages of the justice and correctional systems. Through its 10 local justice committees, it will focus on providing culturally appropriate approaches that emphasize healing for individuals, families, and communities, while addressing, as I've said, these underlying causes of crime. This is the key to addressing overrepresentation in the criminal justice system, ensuring Indigenous people have access to traditional conflict resolution measures, sentencing circles, and reintegration programs. This is also part of what Call to Action 50 asked us to do, which is work with Indigenous peoples in partnership to reinvigorate Indigenous-led justice systems based on Indigenous traditions. And so this is a good step forward. Funds will also go towards GLADRU aftercare services, which help individuals in carrying out the recommendations contained in GLADRU reports. These services are instrumental in helping offenders understand their behavior and its impact, which in turn leads to a healing path for the offender, for victims, and for the greater community. This funding will also help ensure program integrity as it works to meet the increased demand for its services. A portion of this funding, provided through the Justice Canada's Indigenous Justice Program, is part of larger investments our government announced in the Fall 2020 Economic Statement and Budget 2021. There, we committed $49.3 million to support the implementation of GLADRU principles, as well as Indigenous-led responses to help reduce the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in the criminal justice system. We've also committed $11 million in funding to support engagement with Indigenous communities and organizations on the development of legislation and initiatives that address systemic barriers in the criminal justice system, including collaboration and partnership on an Indigenous justice strategy, which is also the development of which is also in my mandate letter. A portion of these funds will support Makivik's work to engage key stakeholders and justice system participants in the development of the Indigenous justice strategy. Ces deux investissements s'intègrent aux activités que nous menons pour faire avancer la réconciliation avec les peuples autochtones au Canada et répondent aux appels à l'action de la Commission de vérité et réconciliation, ainsi qu'aux appels à la justice de l'enquête nationale sur les femmes et les filles autochtones disparues et assassinées. And they support our objectives as part of the Government of Canada's federal pathway to address missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and 2S LGBTQIA+ people, and to build a more inclusive and representative justice system. We remain committed to transforming our justice system, making it more just, equitable, and accessible to all people. I really do believe this is achievable, and it must be done in partnership, in collaboration, and with appropriate investment in Indigenous-led, Indigenous-focused solutions. We're proud to move forward together with President Atami and Makivik Corporation, with the Government of Quebec, and to offer a better, healthier, and more just future for Indigenous peoples in our country. Nakramik, thank you. Merci.
Thank you very much, Minister Lametti. That concludes your announcement, and we will move on to the Q&A portion. A reminder to please use the raised hand function or *6 if you're joining us by phone. Nous allons maintenant amorcer la période de questions et n'oubliez pas de lever votre main virtuelle ou peser *6 si vous nous rejoignez par le téléphone. On va juste donner un moment pour la lever la main. I'm just giving a few moments in case you're trying to raise your hand. Just a reminder, *6 if you're joining us by phone, *6 si vous nous rejoignez par le téléphone. Doesn't look like we have any raised hands. So this concludes this press conference. C'est la fin de la conférence de presse. Merci.
Thank you very much, Minister Lametti and the MP Emmanuel for this, and this is going to go a long ways in helping with our cause. And you said it very well, Minister Lametti, that our justice system is, for me, it's foreign. We're learning about it. And you're also learning about our own programs that we put in place. I just wanted to highlight one particular one is the online program where we send out people that have never really lived off the land, go with people that know about hunting, and they learn about who they are and start going in the right direction, kind of a thing. So I want to thank the Government of Canada for this extra contribution. That's going to go a long way. So thank you very much, Minister Lametti and the Cabinet and the Liberal government for this contribution.
Thank you, Peter. We will see you virtually next week.
Yes,
and I hope to meet your daughter, Emanuela. Peter's daughter just graduated from the law faculty at McGill, and is working at Gowlings in Montreal. So you'll be learning from law. You'll be learning about the law from her, but hopefully she'll also be teaching us about your legal traditions too. So.
That's amazing. Congratulations to her and to you.
Thank you very much for this. So thank you, and you have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Emma.
See you, Nava. Harrison. Yeah.